Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Jen,
I'm Kimberly.
and this is that Vegan Morning Show.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, Kimberly. Long time no see.
Right?
I got to
I
see
feel
a
like
lot of you this weekend.
yeah, we spent like all weekend together in
I
various
know.
ways.
This is so true. You came here with JP, and we had a cool vegan pizza lunch.
Hmm.
And then we went to the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors. That was fun. And
Yeah.
the weather was really perfect too for a march in New York State.
Yeah.
And then we got to do our first cooking class together.
We did. And it was so fun. And the engagement was fantastic. And
Mhm.
um I feel like I learned a lot, both about like kind of the approach to the whole thing and
Yeah.
even some of the questions that we were asked. Like we had to do quick like research on those things live to get people answers, and it
Yeah.
just I felt like it flowed really well, and I don't know, I had a good time.
Me too. Same. All of everything you said. All of that. And I'm excited because we're going to be doing a cooking class every month. So
Yeah.
stay tuned to see what Kimberly and I are cooking up next.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the tofu one next month, and then, like,
Yep.
we have so many cool some kind of themed around which month it's happening in, others just kind
Mhm.
of, like, in August, we'll do, like, a salad one because there's so much bounty here in the Northeast
Oh,
around
yeah.
that time, so, also kinda leaning into those types of things, so yeah, get on our mailing list. That's in the link in every single show notes, so that you can see what's coming next and
Yeah.
join us for one or maybe all of the classes.
Yeah, exactly. You should come to all of them because they'll all be great.
Exactly.
So, Kimberly, we have a very big we always have a big topic, but this
Right.
is an extra explosive one in the vegan community
I
lately.
think so.
And
Yeah.
you brought it to my attention. So, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I would love to. So it's about more fighting within the vegan movement and like who is more vegan and what makes you vegan or what are your actions that take away your veganness, and it was inspired by a back and forth on Instagram. Two vegan accounts who I follow have been arguing with each other because one of them is dating a non-vegan, and had she had shared a video about like what that's like and why she thinks it's meaningful and the impact that her just showing up as a vegan has had on this person in her life, who maybe at the start was kind of like, that's cool for you. And, but I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And then another vegan account was like, hold on, that's disgusting. Why are you swapping bodily fluids and spending all of your time with someone whose values are the opposite of yours? And so it's been a lot of back and forth, and it's led to a lot of conversation in the comments as well as to like, what side are you on? And how do you feel about this one person being like, hold on, that's not vegan to be dating someone who's not vegan? And the other person who's saying, like, yeah, but now this person is eating so many less animals. Their eyes are being opened to a bunch of things. We have no idea if this person might become vegan, whether or not the relationship lasts forever. Like, who knows where this can take this one person? And then what what impact can that person have on the people around them
Mhm.
when they see that this person is like eating less animals, making different choices in the products they buy, and like it does it have a ripple effect? And the woman who's dating the non-vegan says yes. And then the person who is saying dating a non-vegan is not vegan says, and I'm going to drop the F bomb here. So if you kids are
Ooh.
listening, hold your ears. But they said, you don't have to fuck somebody in order to help them make better choices in their life.
I mean, it could be helpful to make them make better choices.
Yeah, it might make them more interested in making those choices, I guess. Um, but so I've been having a lot of feelings around all of this because I hate that there's so much fighting within our movement when ultimately we have the same goal.
Yeah.
While those 2 people are approaching this in a very different way, ultimately what they want is for more people to become vegan, and so that, we grow our numbers or our impact in such a way that we can shift the systems that are abusing 80 billion land animals a year and, murdering them. And so it's our goal is the same. Does it matter how we get there? For some people, it does seem to matter. I would love to know what you think, Jen.
So I have a lot of thoughts. So I watched, once you brought it to my attention, I watched um, a couple of uh, reels from each of these individuals.
Mhm.
The individual who was speaking out against the one dating the non-vegan was very triggering for me.
Mm.
And I did not like things that she said when, first of all, the one who's dating the non-vegan said that her boyfriend is extremely respectful, is open to trying vegan food, will cook her vegan food,
Mhm.
right? And even though he's not ready to make this change for himself, he is still being respectful about this change for her. And so, as someone who is married to a non vegan, yeah, I can relate to that. My husband's respectful about my choices. I'm respectful about his choices. And when I became vegan and then deepened that connection throughout, because I'm coming up to 9 years vegan next month, and you become more vegan the longer you're vegan, if that makes sense, right? Like
Mhm. Yeah.
there's the initial crossing the line to being vegan, and then you become even more connected to that. And I became vegan after I married my husband. So I had to, when I wanted to make this change for myself, I set boundaries. I communicated what my needs were in that,
Mhm.
and it's been fine. The person attacking that person, the boyfriend, she said some things that really, really pissed me off.
Mm.
She was saying that you are less powerful if you date a non vegan.
Hmm.
She also said, uh, if you date somebody who's not vegan, you're probably going to be a very watered down version of yourself.
Interesting.
And this was like, and I just watched like one video where she first attacked the other person.
Mhm.
And I got mad about that because that's not my experience at all. If
Yeah.
anything, it has made me stand more into being more of a version of myself. It's made me realize there is more of a need for me to be a vegan in non-vegan spaces, because that is how we lead that change, that by setting that example. And our household, even though it's not 100% vegan, has a lot less animal products in it because of my choices, right? And my husband has learned a lot, and again, he's open to eating a lot of vegan products. He's willing to try new things. That's what we want to do. That's how we help create more vegans. When we are, when vegans are angry and militant about how other people choose to be vegan, that's where it becomes a problem. And that's where it turns people off to wanting to be vegan in the first place, because they don't want to be a part of such a judgmental, unforgiving space. And so, anyway, those are some of my thoughts that came up
Yeah.
from all of this. What about you, Kimberly?
Well, just as you were saying all of that, I thought about when we were at your place over the weekend, and your husband was outnumbered because my husband is vegan. And so there were three of us and just him. And we
Mm.
had a
A
really
very
great
rare occurrence, by the way, because usually it's
yes.
reverse.
We had a really great conversation where I hope that everyone felt heard, and we moved through a lot of difficult things. And then also I'd like to point out that your non-vegan husband loves making for himself Beyond Burgers. And
Yeah.
I have never, like, I always end up like I'm overcooking them, or like when I make them on a grill, I feel like I'm successful. When I try to make them in the house, like in a pan, it's always like setting off the smoke alarm and whatever. And so I was able to ask your non-vegan husband how to successfully make a Beyond Burger. And so who would have thought, right?
Right? It's one of the things he can cook well.
But I'm at a point now. So when my husband and I got together, he was not vegan, and his thought around my vegetarianism at the time was, that's cool for you, but that's not for me. And I think a lot of it just was he didn't really eat a lot of vegetables, and he didn't know how to cook. So, sounds like me right at the start of my journey. But but I think he didn't understand either, like, why. I think to him at first it seemed more like just a dietary choice than anything else. But as we were friends first, so I, like,
Mhm.
never held back. I wasn't trying to impress him or get him to date me. So, when he would ask me questions, I was just, like, really honest about stuff, because that's how you are
Mhm.
with your friends, right? And,
Yeah.
my representative ddidn't have to show up for the first 3 months because I didn't think we were gonna date. I had a boyfriend at the time, so whatever. Um, and and so I just really presented myself so honestly that he started to be curious about it, and he started to ask questions. And then, like, as we moved through our relationship, like, he went vegan, and then he kind of like fell off that for a little while, which was honestly very difficult for me. I had a very hard time with that, and I didn't even know how to move forward from it. Um, but we got through that, and then now, he's been vegan now for a couple of years. But like, I didn't know at the start, would I ever be with someone who was vegan? Was he ever going to make that change? And I'm grateful that he did, because now where I'm at in my veganism, I don't know what that would mean for our relationship. But so, like, I understand people who are like, why would you be doing that? That's gross. But I also understand, but how else like, why not? Why can't we
Mhm.
help people make a change? And
Yeah.
I've been yeah, like, I don't like the way that, we kind of attack each other when we're working for the same goal, and it's like, "I don't like how you're doing this, you should do it my way." But
Yeah.
because, like, when I look at all of the different approaches that I've had over the course of my 25 plus years since I went vegetarian, my approach has changed, and it's been more effective the deeper I get into my veganism, because I look at it from a more understanding place. Because I wasn't always vegan, and then, as I learned, I made those changes. But I was angry for a long time, and and when I first went vegetarian, even I was so shocked and horrified by what I'd learned that I thought everybody should know about this. And so I told everyone, and nobody wanted to hear it because like my
Mhm.
approach was very um like in your face, kind of like that person who's attacking the one with the non-vegan boyfriend. But I also understand that like because humans are all so different, there's
Yeah.
going to be someone who hears that level of anger and stuff, and that will make them go, "All right, I gotta look into this. Ooh, they're being so ridiculous and they're, so worked up
Mhm.
about it." And then they might go, "Oh my gosh, wow." And that could be the catalyst to get them to change. Where there are other people that would never react to that. Wall up immediately, never opening their mind to learning something new. So, I think we need to turn that anger towards each other out to the industry and the organizations and the companies that are the ones that are killing these animals, I and we need to turn our efforts out to the people who are still engaging in consuming and using animals in their lives. I don't even know if I made a point there, but thanks for listening
You
to
made a
me.
lot of great points. Made a lot of sense, and they're all very good, valid points. Um, yeah, there was a few things that like jumped out at me while you were speaking, right? Like remembering what it's like before you become vegan, right? Or in your case, before you became vegetarian, right? Before you made that change from
Mhm,
that big step of I don't want to consume meat, right? And then it deepened further to other animal products, right? Like the dairy and eggs.
mhm,
Um, but that first step, it's when you first realize things, it's horrifying. And cognitive dissonance is a really big thing. And I remember when we were having that conversation on Saturday, and JP was talking about that, like remembering what it was like before you finally are able to cross that line, right? And I remember that, like before you cross that line, you can fall back a little bit, right? And again, it's that cognitive dissonant piece. It took me 2 years to go vegan because part of that was my fear of, well, I would be the only vegan in my family. How's that going to work? Right. And then I
mhm,
figured out a way. But when I first tried going vegan. It lasted for a couple months. And then I went to a doctor who told me I should have fish. And at that point, I was still a little wobbly. And I went and had fish again for like 2, 3 months until something in me then deeply internal was like, you can't do this.
mhm.
And that was like that final line for me. Right. So yeah, because we're not, most of us are not raised vegan,
Right.
and we're not aware of a lot of things until we do become aware of them. And once you become aware, that first initial period of time when you become aware of these things, it it can be horrifying. Oh, I can.
No, you're good.
Oh, I'm good. Oh, it
Mhm.
was spinning for a minute. Okay, good. I wasn't sure if it was still picking me up. Hey, it was the first time it did it this whole time, so that's good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So when you first become aware of these things, it's sickening, right? And you realize, because again, when you're going grocery shopping, you know what meat is, but you don't think too much about it because you don't see the process or think too much about the process of how it is neatly packaged up, right?
Mhm.
And it's just so normalized. And then when you become vegan, you're horrified at what is a normal part of society. And part of that discussion that we did have is at one point, back in early civilization, people needed meat for clothing, for blankets, for other materials, because it was the start of civilization. There wasn't ways to make, and then we also talked about gathering, right? People did a lot of gathering and consuming what they could find with the occasional animal products. But now we're at a point where we don't need that anymore. So why should we continue? Right? Why? And
Mhm.
we're doing it to the point where it's really hurting the planet now. Back
Mhm.
in the day, people coexisted with nature in a way that was harmonious, right, and respectful. Now we live in a society where it's very destructive. And so not only are you torturing animals, but you're also destroying the planet and harming people. And then let's not forget what the workers in these slaughterhouses are. They're also being exploited. They're
Mhm.
working in horrendous conditions. And so getting back to your points, like, once you become aware of all of these things, you feel sick.
Mhm.
But I also understand what I was like before I was aware of these things. So I have that level of compassion. And again, everything is context, right? There are people who can just be flat out assholes when they see a vegan. Who'll be like,
Mhm.
I'm going to eat 10 burgers now because,
Right. Make
I'm
up for
so
what you're not eating. Yeah.
right, exactly. I'm not talking about those people, right? Like those people are
Mhm.
just not even worth my energy, right? but um but people who are not where we are as vegans, but they're respectful about it, they're curious, they're open, but they're just not where we are. Yeah, we should have compassion. We should be understanding. And if we want to create more of a vegan world, then we have to create a safe space for people who aren't vegan, and hopefully at some point maybe they will change their own. So I don't know. Those are some of my thoughts that came up to me as you were sharing your thoughts. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts now, Kimberly?
Yeah. It's I am forever in this struggle of understanding human nature a little bit, right? Knowing that most people are not going to make a significant change to their life, like going vegan overnight, um, and stick with it for the rest of their lives and be engaged and, all the things that it's going to take for us to make a vegan world or even for us to become the majority where now we don't have that animal factory system,
Mhm.
but it hurts so much because there are billions of animals every year
Yeah.
that no matter how respectful a non-vegan is to what we're doing, they are complicit in those murders. And
Yeah.
every one of those animals has a desire to live just like we do, wants to see the sun and feel the grass underneath their hooves, their feet, and they are denied that because people are unwilling to hear or accept that that's what they're part of and that there is another choice. And so I'm constantly in this feeling of like, I get it. We've got to be compassionate. We have to be kind and we have to show them that this really is the way forward for us as a people, for the planet, to benefit the animals who will come later. But my goodness, does it break my heart every day. And it is so hard. Like I said, no matter how respectful they are about what I'm doing, what you're doing, what the movement is, they're part of that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But they don't see it that way, right? They don't,
Right.
and that's the thing, right? Because it's been so normalized. And one of the things that did come up in our conversation is, right, this belief. that it's restrictive, right?
Mhm.
And I used to have that belief also. I remember my senior year in high school, this girl in like, I think it was my government class or I don't think it was economics. I don't know, something really boring and useless that I had to take in high school. I think it was like economics or something. I mean, not that that is useless, but I don't know. It was boring. Uh, anyway, this girl in my class was talking to someone behind me about how she was vegan and talking about what that meant. And I just thought, oh, that sounds so difficult. Why would anyone want to do that? Right? I was 18. What did I know? So now, like, yeah, it. And I think for me, like, there are people who can go vegan overnight. And then there are people where it's a gradual process. Again, it was a gradual process for me. I was
Mhm.
curious. I'm a cookbook junkie. I love exploring new recipes. I love being creative in the kitchen. I wanted to also eat healthier. So, like, all these different things were that stepping stone. And I played and explored in that area.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I've noticed, especially in the past like 6 months, even more than that, since we've done this show, I mean, I became a committed. It started for health, but I became a committed vegan because of what happens to animals,
Mhm.
and that was enough for me. But I didn't need to watch more documentaries on it or read more about it, and I didn't get into it too deeply because I knew enough for myself. But then creating my platform, as I, further on, I realized there was a need for me to educate myself on these other aspects of being, like, really educate myself.
Mhm.
And then since we've done that vegan morning show, dove into it even more. And then when we did Main Street Vegan Academy at the end of last
Yeah.
year, I I felt sick to my
Mm.
stomach for a couple of months when we did that because we had to do a lot of reading. We had
Yeah.
to watch a lot of documentaries. And even though these are things that I knew on a general level and I knew enough for myself, I have to know a lot more about it because I'm an educator. I'm
Mhm.
trying, and I have to know about all of it really in depth. And there was a period where it was really hard for me to be around non-vegan family members when eating. I didn't vocalize it so much, but
Mhm.
internally, I felt myself feeling more challenged
Mm.
because of that deeper education that I had on it and just thinking about it more. So it's the more you educate yourself, I think it makes you more sensitive to these
Mhm.
issues, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So how do we educate those people who still are like, "Nah, good for you, but not for me," Like, is this enough? Should we be arguing with people? Should we just show up and not tell people we're vegan, but just show them how great life is? Like, it feels, um, like there's so many avenues that we can take. Or is it just that we trust that we do what makes sense to us and know that other vegans are doing what makes sense to them? And because humans are all so different, we just trust that, like, the non-vegans who can react and learn from and change from what they know from me will do that, and those where they resonate with you will make the change, and the vegan who's angry or in your face, like, they're going to be effective to the people who will only hear something if that's how they hear it, I don't know.
You brought up all very good questions, and I have an answer for all that. You know what? There's not a one size fits all answer to the human population
Mm.
because humans are a hot mess right now on so many levels.
That's
um,
the truth.
but sticking to veganism, um, everyone has different views and opinions, and the non-vegan person who's dating, I mean, the vegan who's dating the non-vegan, and from our discussion earlier in this, talks about that. Everyone has different upbringings and backgrounds and views. And so humans are complicated.
Mhm.
And so I think, so I know there are vegans out there who are like, there's that common joke, how do you know that there's a vegan in the room? Don't worry, they'll tell you.
Mhm.
I will tell you. I know some vegans who won't. They're just quiet about it.
Mhm.
But I don't say it in like a mean way. I just say it as I'm vegan. And so this is what I can eat. If I'm going someplace in someone's house, I offer to bring things, and then when I bring the things, I share that they're vegan.
Mhm.
Why? Because people are curious, and I see it as an opportunity of letting people see what vegan food really is.
Mhm.
So I don't mind being the vegan in the room who will tell you that I am vegan, because I feel like the more of us that do it in a way that's not shitty, but like, just, hey, this is who I am, and you're welcome to check it out. But I won't like be in their face, but I try to create that invitation of curiosity so
Mhm.
that they can look into it more. And I want to be that example of a vegan who is kind and compassionate to humans as well, and
Yeah.
open for that discussion. If we do it from a place of invitation, and show people that it's not a miserable and restrictive experience, that it is actually.
Yeah. I fully agree with that because, before, just even from the food perspective, before I went even vegetarian, I ate like 5 things. And some of it was because I was like weirded out by textures or afraid of like getting a vein or a ligament in my mouth, so I was like weird about that. And I just didn't really expand out. I didn't eat a lot of different cuisines, things like that. And since even going vegetarian, it made me go like, okay, I've got to learn how to eat other things and I have to experiment. And then going vegan for sure, I eat so many different things that I never would have even considered trying
Yeah.
when I was eating animal products. And so this idea that it's restrictive when there are like thousands and thousands of plants available and,
Mhm.
and so many different flavors and textures, and then all of the spices that you can pull from so many areas of the world, it just makes eating so much more interesting. And I have never, ever, ever felt restricted from a food perspective. And now, as far as like other products go, you don't have to go to a health food store to find typical like cleaning or beauty products that aren't tested on animals and don't
Yeah.
include animal products. Vegan clothing is a lot easier to find, and you don't have to just wear, Converse and plastic, jackets and stuff. Like there are really great things out there in the world, and it is restrictive is the last word that I would ever use when talking about what being vegan is. And emotionally, I think it opens your heart and it opens you up in a different way to really be able to feel things that are hard but necessary. And I
Mhm.
do think that it makes us it can make us as a people better if we all lean into this and make this choice.
Yeah, 100%. I became a better cook
Yeah.
after I started exploring vegan food. And there are so many mainstream products now. Vegan makeup is easy to find and it's relatively affordable. There's vegan fashion and vegan materials are constantly evolving, right? We've
Mhm.
talked about this before. Like there's pineapple leather and mushroom leather and other types of materials made where we don't need these things. So just because that's the way it's always been doesn't mean we need to keep doing it this way.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I find it uh, less restrictive. I feel like vegans eat much more exciting food,
Yeah.
and we also we think about nutrition a lot. I think probably we're probably more a lot. Most of us have our nutrient, because there's that fear of, oh, you're going to be nutrient deficient. But because it's so front and center in our minds, we're probably less nutrient deficient as a whole than people who don't even think about it as much.
Right. I would agree with that.
Wow, we've already gone past time.
We have. Oh my goodness. Yes, definitely need to, wrap it up.
Such a good discussion, though. I'm so glad you brought this up,
Me
and
too.
we would love to know your thoughts
Yeah.
on this. So please let us know in the comments below, if you're watching the replay. What are your thoughts on this? Is somebody not vegan if they are dating or married to someone who isn't vegan? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'd love to know. Tell us, please.
Yeah, please do. Kimberly, do you have anything coming up this week?
I do. I've got another new episode of Did You Bring the Hummus out today with Carl Orzakowski of Faunalytics. And we talk about so many different things. It's a great episode. It's a little longer than my episodes usually are, but it's worth it. So definitely, plan around that, or listen to it in chunks. But we talk about a little bit about being an undercover investigator. We talk about a study that the organization now known as Faunalytics put out that got them like national attention on like CNN and MSNBC.
Ooh,
So it was, and his vegan journey, of course, and hummus, of course. But yeah,
of course.
yeah, it's a great, great conversation, and I'm so glad to have it out in the world now for people to hear. So wherever you get your pods, pull up Did You Bring the Hummus and listen to the latest episode.
I'm
Thanks.
looking forward to checking that out.
Yeah, it's a good one. What about you, Jen? What's going on this week for you?
On Wednesday, I did another Cooking with a Confident Vegan. Well, I didn't do it on Wednesday, but I did it a few weeks ago. And on Wednesday, I'm posting it with Dr. Marina De Leon. I've had her on the Confident Vegan multiple times. You've had her on Did You Bring the Hummus? We've also had her
Mhm.
on that Vegan Morning Show. And she's just wonderful. So we cook like healthy grab and go
Oh,
meals.
nice.
Yeah, it's like healthy grab and go foods that are quick and easy and tasty. So, and then we just chat, and she's always lovely to chat with.
Yeah,
So that'll be going up on Wednesday.
awesome. Yeah, she's a good friend to us, so really
Yeah,
appreciate all the ways that she shows up.
yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
And yeah, and yeah, so she's wonderful. So yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing that.
Awesome. I can't wait to check it out. I'm gonna send it to JP too, because I'm so busy right now that JP's got to do some of the food prep, and so that will be really helpful for him to have some new grab and go ideas. Oh, awesome.
Perfect. Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Especially in the summertime too. These are like good picnic foods too.
Ooh,
So
very nice.
all right. I guess we will wrap this up then, and we'll be back next week, the last one in the morning
Yeah.
next week. And then we'll be at our new time, April 6th,
Yay.
at 6 p.m. because it's morning some.
That's right.
All right. Have a wonderful week,
Okay.
everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.